Good evening and welcome. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to Night Talk. It's 10:05, and it's Wednesday, September 10th. So come on in, grab a glass of wine. I have my Gatorade and water. Last night I said I'm not going to be long, and I ended up staying on for 1 hour. I see baby Juju, my moderator. Good evening. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started because I do want to, wrap things up by 11 o'clock, if not a lot sooner. All right. So before I get into tonight's talk, the news that most people are watching, and it has to do with the untimely and tragic. Uh, it was really what we witnessed today that happened on a Utah campus. I'm talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, some of you may know him, others may not know him. He was 31-year-old, and he is or was a prominent conservative activist and rising star, really, in the Republican Party. But he had his own radio talk show, YouTube, social media. He appealed to a lot of young people. He would go around to campuses, but not only that, he was known in the Republican Party, big supporter of Donald Trump, and he was doing what he normally does when he goes around to these campuses. He was on stage. He was giving a talk when, out of nowhere, a gunman, single shot, fired on him, struck him in the neck. He was rushed to a hospital and, given life, saving support, but sadly he succumbed to that injury. When I saw it, it was, how is he going to survive that? People were praying for him, and he had a wife and a young children, both a daughter and a son. His daughter was the oldest, but they were young children, babies, really. Yeah. So let me just let me show you something from last night that can at least be a receipt as to what I was talking about last night. I will show it. It's one of many, including videos that I have. But someone was kind enough to send this to me, remind me. But I have this. So this was in a video all about the trees. You can see there. It was in the chat. Infamous Megan was one of her moderators. And she was talking to Simply Liz. And again, I don't know all these people. But she said, we have come to find out that Snook was the troll account who was in Teddy's chat picking on the doll. Trees was live. The troll ran to Trees and said Teddy was harassing her. So, as I mentioned, I had trolls. And I do remember that Benz is Benz, right? And Snook. There were two separate people. Just quickly, give me a thumbs up before I go any further. They were two separate persons, right? Snooky, yes. She was always up on Tree's panel. And there was Benz. Yeah. And the doll and this, it was supposed to be at least the avatar, said Angie B, Angel B's daughter or something like that. Okay. So it was a setup. They came into the chat and started a riff. Yeah. And that's what happened. And then Wild Trees was live. She went off on me. It was pretty bad. Yeah. And Benz used to, it was like good cop, bad cop. I remember the doll was always coming to my chat. She said she was ill. And I believed her. I thought that it was something like terminal. I'll just say that. We even took up a little bit of a collection. I sent her a teddy bear with a heart. I sent flowers, and this was from the money that people wanted to contribute. And, picked out from, I'm not sure if it was like Amazon, but I even brought it to my chat and let everyone pick out, what they thought would be nice to send the doll. That was in 2021. It's 2025. The doll, I hear, is still around. So, I'm telling you, I just really feel like people were playing in my face. I had good intentions, and I thought that people were, honest. They were trolling me. And this isn't something that I couldn't say to their face, because I'm saying it on my mic. Yeah. This is how it really started. Trees and all of these Avengers, because Trees was part of that. But Trees was, she had her own, she was a content creator. But Trees had a big following even then. She did. Yeah. And she just took it and ran with it. And of course, that was also at the time that she was going back and forth with Tails. And from there, as I mentioned last night, now I can see that Danielle, because I have receipts, if anyone had a beef or talked about any of those Avengers, she would come to their rescue. Look what she's doing now. I mean, it's really just a pattern. And I'm talking about content creators. Content creators, in my opinion, they don't really need the help and assistance of Danielle just because they follow her. Yeah. But she takes it personally. Yeah. And thus the plot around Trees and the beef that I had with her. Yeah. It's facts. I have receipts. So I wanted to show you that one. But as I mentioned, I have the video, Trees video, and my video, where, I have all my videos. Yeah. You can email me at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. All right. So let's put this back on. I replayed my video from last night, and it was one that I liked because it was, I don't know, it just spontaneity. It was very conversational for me to listen to it again, and I just talked about it, which I typically do, but I critique myself sometimes, and that one from last night, I thought it was okay. Let me go to the bottom, baby Juju. She did the rap part of She Just an Avatar. She's blocked over here. The doll? You see, I just picked one of the names out. I don't know. I knew at the time that she was coming over much later. She said she was blocked, and I had unblocked her. I'm talking about the doll, because I've told people if they're blocked that they can email me. I think it would have been like Darlene, maybe. Or it could have been Joy. Yeah. That's how far back, it went, or another. Yeah. But I remember Dadal emailing me and asking to be unblocked. And I unblocked her. Yeah. I didn't know. But, no good deed goes unpunished either. So, the things that I do, for others or that we do here on this platform, they're done, right? And that's it. So if a person wasn't sincere, or I don't know, again, I never questioned the doll. But I did see things afterwards that it just didn't sit well with me. No. Not at all. Because one thing, even after that, if I'm not mistaken, she was over there with the Avengers. The doll was all over the place. She'd be over, hear her, I guess, just everywhere. Yeah. But again, I don't know who she is, really. Yeah. All right. So, let me just show a picture of Charlie Kirk. Do you know, I kid you not, this morning I was looking at videos related to that tragic stabbing of that young woman, Ukrainian woman, in the subway in Charlotte, North Carolina. Remember, I mentioned it kind of right at the end. So this morning, when I had time, I started, kind of looking through the articles because I thought, I'm going to talk about it. Let's see here. Just so, folks, you can believe me or not, it's on my timestamp. Okay. Let me go here. And I was looking at Charlie Kirk's articles. He had just created a live called The Brutal Story Every Fake News Outlet Continues to Ignore. And I was watching it. Yeah. He was still alive. One of his videos this morning, or you can see too, this is from my history, because I went ahead and pulled it. My proof. Yes, I was watching Charlie Kirk. Oh, you mean I was? Yes, because I wanted to hear what he had to say about the story. And he had another someone from the media, and they were talking about it. And of course, he's quite outspoken, but I even heard him when he was interviewed. Candace Owens, I've watched him just enough to know a little bit, just a little bit about it. Very little. But I found him to be quite, what's the word? Not just controversial. I wanted to hear what he had to say because the way he spoke and just talked about, he wasn't afraid to talk about his faith, his, what he took a stand on, his morality or his beliefs. And I just found him to be very, very interesting. And I wanted to learn more about his position. Yeah. I told you that I watch other YouTubers, other podcasts. I do. Because I like to hear different point of view. And then, when I had finished, watching the article, the next thing that came up, because I watch LFR, family, it's a black guy, he's very popular too, and I got a notification, and I heard, like, on the news too, like there was some breaking news. So I was watching the news, and then I heard this, and it said that Charlie Kirk had been shot. And I'm like, I was just watching him. And so, of course, I was, locked into it. But it's a very, 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 not just because the atmosphere here in this country, it's yes, he's very polarizing. But don't we have the right, freedom of speech here in this country? I just don't think anyone deserved that. That's my own personal belief. No matter... No, really. It was... If you've watched the video, and it's quite disturbing to watch it, I watched it and I post it to my ex account. That he was undeniably a target. And do you know that police had 2 people that they've interviewed, but both of persons of interest? But I've looked at U.S. News, and let me just take this picture off. That was for that purpose, so you could see. It was just, I just happened to be, watching one of his videos this morning, before he was assassinated. But New York Post, and of course he's in all of the major media. He's all over his death. Really, it's shocking, because one single bullet fired from some distance while he's there on a college campus. He's seated, and it strikes him in the neck. That's someone, whoever did that, it was meant to take him out. Yeah. No matter what your, background, your belief, your political persuasion, all of that, there's a broader, larger story here. Because it's not just on the Republican side, Recently, targets because of a political, motivation. Yeah. And this is getting serious. It's gotten serious. And he was just talking about, what happened to this Ukrainian young woman. And of course, President Trump and a lot of people on both sides had things to say about, sent their condolences to the family. Because right now they're in mourning. And he has said some things. I'm going to get to your comments in the chat. I will. But the suspect that was arrested in connection, the second one with Charlie Kirk's assassination, it was at the Utah Valley University, this person was released after the FBI announced agents had detained the wrong person for a second time. So Kirk's killer remains on the run. And the FBI and local, authorities, cops, they're hunting for him across Salt Lake City, that region. It was horrific. Yeah. And the FBI director, Kash Patel, he posted to his ex, "The subject in custody has been released after interrogation by law enforcement." Yeah, just over an hour after he announced the subject of the horrific shooting had been arrested. Again, Charlie Kirk is a conservative activist and fatally shot today while speaking at this event. It's just unimaginable. Really. Of course, he had received, many death threats and he had security, but as I watched the press conference, I think they said there were 6 officers, campus, and then he had his own, but still. So again, this wrongfully accused man was nabbed after police initially cuffed, then released an older man who had been seen in social media videos being escorted from this, the campus following this fatal shooting. Yeah, I'm looking at a map here of the Utah Valley University campus where Kirk was killed. I think they said, nearly 2,000, students and others were at this rally. The governor of Utah, it's Spencer Cox, called Kirk's killing a political assassination, and then indicated that the killer could face the death penalty because they have it there. It's still in effect in Utah. Let's see. There's just so many updates too. Well, you can go to them, read them. I'm sure you've listened to it, heard it, some of it. Yeah. How this will end up. It's just tragic. I mean, on all sides. Is this going to heighten the tensions in our country? Is this going to be the tip of the, really some type of escalation, or are things going to quell down? Because, right now, this week, last week, troops in Washington, and there's been talk of troops, National Guard going into Chicago and then other cities. And how are people going to discuss this? And of course, on both sides, fanning flames on both sides. There's even been really some cruel things that are being posed, even on him, below his family's social media, which is really cruel. I have to say that. Yeah. So before I say any more about it, let me take a look at your comments, because I'm not looking at them at the moment. Let's see who's here. Jennifer. All right, I see you've made several comments. I am going to read your comments. Fair use commentary for education, criticism, news reporting, and entertainment purposes only. You can email me. I see that I have an email. Let me read it, not aloud, but let me just see what's going on. Yeah. All right, someone making a comment about, not about Charlie Kirk, but about what I started out, talking about the beef between myself and trees, history. Polly, Angela, Mimi Twin, good evening. My moderators, good evening. Baby Juju says, I remember who suggested doing something for her. Wasn't that... Now, again, it's just... what's his name? Was it a guy? A content creator? I know he made... what was his name? I can't always remember content creators' names that I don't, just frequent. Yeah. Let's see. She did the rap part. Oh, all right. Vicky, good evening, says she kept starting problems in the chat. And Darlene, she warned her. Yeah. Welcome to Night Talk. All right, so Jennifer says, I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term. Charlie Kirk. Would that be used against him now? People are saying some cruel things. I'm going to continue reading down. This is fair use commentary. All opinions are of those in the chat, as long as, they're respectful and I'm reading them. Yeah. Polly said, to be honest, I didn't know who he was until today. I think his YouTube channel had over 3.5 million followers. Yeah. He has made quite a name for himself in the conservative, circles. Being very conservative. And and he's been, called the R word, but I mean racist. There's nothing wrong with using that word. Let's see. Jennifer says gun violence is never okay. It isn't. But the old saying, live by the sword, die by the sword. He said it was worth, if for some people to die, from guns to protect the Second Amendment. In the, in the wrong hands, it's deadly. And it cost him. Yes, he was tragically. And we don't know who this person is. That did it. Right now, it's quite shocking, really. And to see it in some people who witnessed it. A lot of young adults, they were on campus. Yeah. Though I took a look and I was not impressed as a believer in Christ, may his soul rest with God. With God, rest in peace. Yeah. God will be the judge of us all. No wonder you didn't know. Yeah. Jennifer says he was a racist who said gay people should be. Wow. I haven't heard everything that he said. That's shocking too. You call him a hate monger. That's not really polarizing. It's just flat out disgusting. I'm never in favor of or support of violence. Sharon said he had it all. All right, I continue. Kash Patel fired the head of the FBI field office 3 weeks ago, says Jennifer, because she is a woman. She was an anti-terrorism specialist, Patel should be held accountable. This is going to be far-reaching. This is just day one, and it's not even one, full day. The shock is just beginning to set in, and the grief. But that's going to quickly turn into, and has already for some, turned into anger. I'm talking about, outside. I'm not talking about the family. They're in a different place. I can't even imagine what his wife is going through tonight. Yeah. Because for them, for her, that was her husband, the father of her 2 children, someone's son, could be brother, relative, and then all of the people in circles that he had, a lot of people that thought kindly of him. Yes, I've been reading some of this today. Wow. And of course he was, MAGA. Did he ever say anything that made sense to anyone? This is to anyone in the audience. Now I'm even more curious to find, to hear things that were said by him or about him. Especially, I was just beginning to really be, watching some of his videos. I had. And that would come by watching Candace and others. So it gets into the algorithm and I receive these videos. Yeah. So I did know about him. Jennifer knew about him. People knew about him in certain, if you follow politics. And Jennifer, I would expect that you would know about him. Well, probably, more than any of us. Yeah. Polly says it's rough. I don't agree with this at all because I truly believe in the freedom of speech. Still, many people that speak out have been taken out. MLK is a perfect example. It does happen. This time, he lost his life to an assassin's hand. Yes, trigger warning, sensitive subject for mature audiences only. Yes, it has that feeling. Jane Locke says, looking like the 60s assassinations. Yes. And attempted. Yes. It has that feeling. You know, in the 60s in this country, there was so much going on, political history, 60s, we lost President John F. Kennedy to an assassin. We lost Martin Luther King Jr. in the 60s. We lost Bobby Kennedy. It was a lot going on. In the 60s, there was riots and I was young. I mean, I could talk about that with maybe videos. But the environment in this country was a lot of racial tension and marches for rights, and laws were passed, and just a lot going on. Yes. In politics. In the music. Just a lot. So, yes, it does harken back to the feel, the feeling of that. Wild situation. Luna's Blade, new member. Welcome, new member. Newest member. Luna's Blade. I'll play a song at the end. Yeah. Some, I know, I'm hoping that there's no, escalation behind this, but it might be bigger than what we think. This could be that, one, gotten to the point where people might just say, enough is enough. No more talking. None of it. You think we're headed for an uprising. You've been thinking about this for a while. Who came in the chat and talked about that? Last year, I think. All right, so Jennifer again says, I don't believe anyone should be unalived in this way. No. He promoted hate and violence, and unfortunately, this was his end. I don't support violence in any way from anyone. So I agree with that part. Luna's Blade, 2 months membership. Thank you for your support. Angela, we unlock nation. That's it. Lock. We unlock. Yes, he suggested helping her. Yeah, he did. You remember him? He used to be in Marie's channel. You know what? During that time, Marie was coming over to my channel too. In the mornings. Her and Ben. And who else? There was another person that was, I believe, Tree's moderator. But she used a different avatar when she would come in my chat. And then I learned that was her over, a different avatar with Trees, both of them belonging to her. Yeah. Who is that? I'd have to look at the video. Yeah. And rest in peace, 901. Is it 901 Diva? Yeah, she made some comments because she was a moderator, and when that troll came over, I wonder who was in on that. Yeah. Let's continue. Never heard of him before either. He'll be forgotten tomorrow. Yeah, for some. You never heard of him until today. All right. That's why I said some will know him and others won't have heard about him at all. Yeah, Jennifer knows. Algorithms are how people get indoctrinated into hate. Your first cousin, MLK. The 60s was a time, they say. Oh, yes. Black Panthers. Oh, there was so much. It was, really, Black Power. It was everywhere in the songs and in the atmosphere. You could just feel it, know it. It seemed a lot different than what I see today. Yeah. It's more commercialized today. It seems what I remember was more authentic, or it was authentic then. I'm not sure if all of it is authentic today. Yeah. There's a lot of money in it. Yeah. So back to, we're just kind of skipping around. Yeah, she was Teddy, yeah. Jennifer says it was horrible to hear what happened to 901 Don Diva. You weren't fond of her. I didn't know her. But it was awful. Tragic. Her son. Teenager. Both parents. Tragic. All your cousins were in the Black Panthers. That party's still around. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Respected on the streets, yeah. Yeah. The Panthers, Black Panthers. just like the nation. Just like the nation. Whether you agree with them or not, certain groups stand out. And I think they do because they're consistent. They don't waver. Yeah. You know what you're going to get. Yeah, shout out to Angela Davis. Yeah, she's big. Then, lots of movies. Yeah, the 60s were really a decade of just everything. Really had Motown sound, just a lot. The 60s were real raw. Facts today, I told my husband in the next 10 years, this gonna be 80% gone. B-A-I. Yeah. You be talking to your girl, Afina, all the time. Okay. Wow. It's 11 o'clock. And I said that I wanted to end at 11 o'clock. So, I've read your comments. We could say more, but for now, rest in peace. Also, to Polly Holiday, who was Flo on the TV show Alice. For us old heads, I didn't realize. No. Rest in peace. Let me take a look at my emails. I see we're good. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the grizzlies and the honey bears. Please hit the like on your way out and join me sometime tomorrow. Yeah. Once again, I appreciate my moderators for supporting this channel and you as well. That will do it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Good night.